Okay, perfect. Also, I just want to preface by saying I have a lot of notes off screen. So if you see me like looking at my screen and then off screen and all that, that is why. Okay.
Sounds
So hello everyone. My name is Emma Soderquist, and my name for my project was Pining for a Greener Future. So, a little bit about me. I'm currently studying at Highline College. I have 2 quarters left there, and I plan to transfer to either UW-Tacoma or maybe Pacific Lutheran and major in environmental science. And I'm living in Federal Way, and here's just a few pictures of me and my dogs. Okay, for a little introduction about my project, I decided to do a tree giveaway in the Federal Way area. And so, as we know, wealthier neighborhoods and those closer to Puget Sound generally have better maintained green spaces, more shaded and cooler areas compared to those lower income areas that have less trees and have higher levels of air pollution, heat, and this very unfairly affects vulnerable populations. Residents in these communities may also face environmental burdens like industrial pollution, lack of green infrastructure, and other not good things like that. Yucky. Many neighborhoods in the Federal Way area and near Pack Highway have very low canopy coverage. So for my tree giveaway project, I was aiming to focus on those desired areas. And the personal connection between the community and this project can hopefully increase the long-term survival of trees that were to be planted in the area, as well as empowering community members to take an active role in maintaining urban forests and green spaces and learn more about the environment that surrounds them. So some of you may be wondering, why would I do a tree giveaway? Well, urban green spaces are vital to ensure a healthy and sustainable environment. It enhances neighborhoods and creates habitats for the surrounding wildlife. It provides essential benefits like boosting air quality and reducing heat, and absorbs pollutants and produces more oxygen. Okay, so my focus area for this project was near Steel Lake over here. These blocks right here had a low canopy coverage of about 11%, and the goal is about 40%. This block was also the highest out of 66 in the priority list for Federal Way, so they were desperately needing some trees. And then my other focus area was right here behind Federal Way High School. The areas west of the high school had a canopy coverage of 24%, and their goal over here was 50. And this block was ranked 63rd priority out of 66. And I got this information from the Tree Equity Score website. And then I just wanted to do a little overview of Federal Way if you guys were not familiar. Here you can see that there's a lot of areas that are pretty heavily covered by trees and have more shading and cooling and all that. But there's these kind of orange spaces over here that, as you could see, had very low coverage areas. So my approach on this was, first off, I decided to create a poster with information listing about how we wanted to do a tree giveaway and kind of just more things that entails. And I put a QR code to a Google Forms sheet, and that just included like the person's name once they would scan it, and their phone number and email address. And yeah, so I posted these up around the areas in Steel Lake and behind Federal Way High School. And I also went to various businesses like Starbucks and a bunch of boba shops and bakeries in Federal Way. And I also attempted to place a poster in the Federal Way Community Center. And that was kind of a little tricky for me because I learned that you can't just go in there and ask them, hey, I'm going to put up this poster. No, you have to go through City Hall. And so I spoke to like 4 different people at the Federal Way City Hall. And that led me to email the director of the Federal Way Parks Department. I'm not sure what his name was. I forgot, but I will list that if any of you are interested. And so, yeah, that was kind of just a little loophole in this project, but that's okay. My next steps after that were, once the people who wanted a tree were identified from the Google form, I was going to collect the materials and make plans to distribute the saplings. And I also set up an automated email response to those who completed the Google form that just said, like, what area are you living in, like any other information you want to share, and some information that was to be where we were gonna distribute the saplings. And I also got started on a tree care pamphlet to hand out with those saplings that just included some pruning steps and watering and just a bunch of other information. And then as you can see right here, a little spoiler, I did not reach my goal of a tree giveaway, but I made a lot of discoveries. So, first of all, I learned that outreach is difficult. Like those little barriers I had at the community center and just things like that. Some people just, it's hard to get in touch. We did speak with a outreach coordinator from the city of Federal Way. I think her name was Britt McGrath, and she was very helpful. She offered an idea about making a mailer to send out in the areas that we were interested in, but I just did not get to that step. Um, and then also I learned that some people just don't really care about urban green spaces, and that is okay, but we would like to push that curiosity onto some folks. Some just say no because of possible failing trees, like catching a disease or just other issues, or homeowning issues like renting or other things like that. And then, those various economic, social, and physical barriers that come with a tree planting campaign. So, if I were to redo this project, my first step was to be early on in the project, reach out to the Federal Way Parks and Recreation Department because they could be a lot of help in that situation and help me put up that poster in the community center. My second step would be more direct outreach, such as going door to door and canvassing with like a larger group or just a couple more people, and having a table at the farmers market in Federal Way. My third step would be working closer with the city to determine where we can plant the trees and who for sure would like one, and making sure of those tricky situations like the homeowners versus renters and just things like that. And then my last step would be to focus more on the right tree, right space, such as like the size of the trees, the planting zone, making sure there's no like sewage pipes underneath the planting area and power lines above so you don't have to like trim the tree and just other things like that. And that's about it. Here's my acknowledgements page. I just wanted to say thank you to the funders for providing all of this wonderful everything. And thank you to the Washington State University Urban Forest Health Lab. And a huge thank you to Joey Figgins for all the support during this. And a big thank you to every one of these other interns that are taking part in this. Very helpful. Everyone's very kind. And this was not mentioned, but now that Woody Moses is here, I just wanted to shout out him as well because he was the one who brought up this internship. I was a business major at Highline, and then I took biology with him, and then oceanography, and then environmental science, and that really like got me interested into the whole environmental science stuff. So thank you. That is about it.